Oh wow, isn't that great? Okay, guess it's not gonna work out. Hello. Currently, it is 7:30 here in Nashville. I am here. I'm gonna. First of all, what's going on, everybody? What's up, world? What's up, YouTube? I'm gonna have a little bit of fun today. Tonight I have a new song releasing. It's not very new to me, but it's new to the world, I suppose. New to most of the world. Today, that song is called Home. As we prepare for Good Friday tomorrow and Easter Sunday, it just happened to be sort of perfect. What's going on, chat? How we doing? Swayze, how's it going? How's it going? It's good to be live and to be speaking. I don't know. It's been nice. I just a couple weeks ago moved down to Nashville, Tennessee, and it's been good, quite the thing so far. Just learning how to navigate on my own. It's been a lot of fun, but it's also been challenging in the sense that I'm out on my own for the first time. And I gotta really find out how to build relationships when I'm not around people my age all the time. It's not just a given like it was back home. It's Good Friday today in India. Nice, man. Actually, I don't know what to say. What you would say to that? I was gonna say congrats for some reason. Like that was my first instinct. Like congrats, it's Good Friday. Like no, just happy Good Friday. I guess. I don't know. It's good to celebrate the life of Jesus, of our Savior. It's good. And so right now it is currently Thursday in the US still. And I'm just pretty much preparing. I try to do a fast. It was the first time trying to do a fast on my own, and I tried doing a water fast and I just couldn't. Like I made it through day one. I made it through day one, and it was real tough. Yo, what's going on? How we doing? It is the Razer camera. I literally, this is the first time I've pulled it out of my backpack since anything, because it's just. But it's also really all I have to use. I guess I could have used my phone potentially. I think that's a thing that you can do. But do I do custom beats? Shoot me a. Send me an email to this email that I'm about to put in the chat, and I would be more than willing to do a custom beat for you. I'm willing to work with budgets and everything. Of course, it's, as long as you're not offering to pay me $5 for a beat, that's not gonna work out either. But yeah, I'd be more than willing to work with you. And yes, the camera looks pretty freaking great. Ever since I moved in, I haven't had light bulbs in my room. You have to get these very specific light bulbs in this room, and I don't like. I know I could probably buy them in Walmart, but at the same time, like, I'm trying to save money. Like I'm financially independent. You know what I mean? And so I have the light of this tiny little like hallway thing going on here, and then I have my wash light in the back. Could I do like a Benson Boone kind of beat? Yeah. I mean, I play all everything on all my songs and beats live and everything. So yes, definitely. Actually, I'm very very inspired by Benson Boone. Derek knows that for sure. I am very. I admire Benson Boone. I would definitely say I'm a fan of Benson Boone. Big fan. So yes, I've read and studied his stuff quite a bit, especially since he's been very very successful recently, and it's kind of just figuring out why it works with the masses right now. So yeah, I've got a general idea of how to do it. I can't tell you that I'm gonna be in a like 1-to-1 replica of his producers, but I can get there. Thank you. I appreciate that. Very kind. Very kind. I make fire beats, but I also make fire songs. I promise. So what I'm doing today is I'm gonna just be breaking down one of my songs on my artist channel, which is linked down below in the description and everything. I produce everything, of course. You guys know I make beats, so I produce everything, and I mix and master it and do all the tracking myself. Uh, Before it was in my bedroom back home, not in my bedroom back home. I had like a music room back home. Now it's genuinely in my bedroom. So I guess now I'm like a full on genuine bedroom musician. Before I was like a half. I don't know. I was making them in my house, but I wasn't doing it in my bedroom. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, any more questions, any more things that you guys got, you can just drop them in the chat. Of course, as always, I'll be checking back and forth between. I'm working off of one screen here, so you guys might have to bear with me. I'm gonna do my best here, but I'm gonna be going back and forth between the DAW Studio One and this page, so that I can. Well, what I'm looking at is OBS. You guys are all seeing my face and Studio One, but I'm looking at OBS, and I'll be going back and forth. So don't worry, put stuff in the chat. Feel free to say hi. And yes, please do hit me up. I'm totally up for working on anything you got, man. And just know that okay, I'll make sure to check that song out. uh I'm glad. Yeah. But for now, I'll check that song out. Don't worry. There are plenty of songs made, Hindi songs made on my beats. Um, Not a bad thing. Not complaining about that. It's just like it's interesting that I just wouldn't take my style of beats to be sort of perfect for that, but it seems to be, and I appreciate it. I love it. But yeah, I'm gonna get into this breakdown. First, I'm gonna start by playing the full mastered version, and then from there I'm gonna move on. And if you who was looking for the custom beat is still in here, you can check it out. You can check out the sort of style of music I already make for myself, and what I could totally do. I can do pretty much any genre, any style, but just get an idea for what I do. Okay. So without further ado, I'm just gonna play it, and then I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna play the song. I'm gonna mute my microphone, and yeah, just listen to it with me for a second, because I've been holding on to this song for the past 6.5 months. No joke. So let's do that. Okay, I lied. I don't think this is capturing the audio. That's really annoying. Hold on. Hold on. Uh, it's just if I click something else, I know that this is gonna crash on me. It happens pretty much every time. Yeah, I didn't think you were hearing it. Yep. I'm figuring it out. I'm figuring it out. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And I don't have. I would play it on speakers too, but I don't have speakers. So this really sucks, because I just tested this out right before I started the stream, and it was working perfectly. Sweet. I'll check out that email. I appreciate it. But yeah, hold on. Like I said, I'm gonna try and figure this out. All right, let's try something. Okay. You know what it possibly could be? Maybe.
A heart of glass, I'm skin and bones.
Are we hearing it now?
My flesh is led to all I know.
Give me a yes. Yes. That is what I have done. And I believe we're working good now. Hold on. Actually, I changed the input. I feel like OBS like hates me most of the time. It worked? Okay, hold on. Got it. We did it. Okay. Also, I just checked back on this mix like right before I started the stream, and there's a couple of things seemed to be off about it. I don't know what was going on. I think some of the melodyne was off. It's not how it is in the actual final version, but just a fair warning that there might be a couple places where it's a bit out of tune, the vocal. That's all. I'll play it for you.
Fighting off the enemy. It's who I was, be who I'll be. I'm begging down on my knees. Save me, save me. I couldn't bear to watch you go. A heart of glass, I'm skin and bones. My flesh is led to all I know. Clean me, clean me. I'm begging, take it easy. I'm so scared that you don't need me. My child, I hear you cry. Leave your worries far behind. My dear, I'll hold you now. I can give you more than growing your wings as you go. 'Cause you're mine, child, bringing you home. Going blind from witnessing darkness that's in front of me. Say, son, let's walk and then you'll see. Heal me, heal me. I'm begging, take it easy. I'm so scared that you don't need me. My child, I hear you cry. Leave your worries far behind. My dear, I'll hold you now. I can give you more than growing your wings as you go. 'Cause you're mine, child, bringing you home. My child, I hear you cry. Leave your worries far behind. My dear, I'll hold you now. I can give you life.
Thank you. Thank you in the chat. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's releasing tonight. In about just over 3 hours, 3 hours 15 minutes about. So yeah, that'll be out very soon. Yes, the phase looks great. I haven't had a song out of phase in so long. I think I really figured out how to keep it good. And yeah, I appreciate it, guys. If I would really appreciate it if you guys would go into the description. I've got it. I've got everything linked up in there. And yeah, you can go check that out on Spotify once it comes out in just over 3 hours. So if you want to go follow my Spotify now and follow my other YouTube, I would appreciate it. I would truly appreciate it. There's some parts in that mix that I can't say I'm quite happy about. There's some parts where it really feels like it's peaking. Some of the vocal feels like it's peaking. But I'm slowly learning to not be so precious about my music. Of course, if something is shit, it's shit. But I know that this is a good sounding song. And just the fact that some of the parts in the mix aren't like fully there, I think. First of all, most people won't even notice. I think most people can't really tell the difference, is what I've come to learn. And also, I'm just getting there. I'm getting there. So yeah. So again, thank you in the chat. I don't like saying chat like in real life, but since I have an actual chat going, this people get whatever TikTok language. I don't like it. Derek knows that. So yeah, I'm gonna get into a little bit. I feel like a lot of the time when I break down these songs, they end up being pretty similar. Also, total side note, but I just texted my mom and I'm gonna be calling her in like an hour, so this might be a shorter stream than I thought it was gonna be. Gotta talk to my mom. Gotta talk to my mama. So yeah, like I was saying, whenever I do one of these breakdowns, it feels like a lot of it seems sort of repeated, just because so much of it is just it's just so similar. Like I carry the sort of the methods and the styles that I do pretty much throughout all my mixes and all my masters. You can look at any single mastering file that I have, and it'll stay consistent the entire way through. But regardless, I'm gonna get into this. And as always, the way that I start my mixes is by starting with the vocals. So I'm gonna be starting with the vocals as a breakdown. Also, I wonder if any of you guys hear my roommates are out there. They're chill as hell. I mess with them really a lot, but they're out there right now. Okay. Like I said, we're starting with the vocal.
I'm fighting off the enemy. It's who I was, be who I'll be. And I'm begging down on my knees. Save me. Save me.
Okay, I feel like there you can really tell that the melodyne is a tiny bit off of what it's supposed to be, but regardless, let's get into what's on this chain for this vocal. So this was one of the first songs that I had this song mixed and I had it mastered a totally separate way. But then since I've been holding on to it for the past 6 months, I went through so many different changes in the way that I mix and the way that I master. So this vocal chain is one of the early. It's not the earliest like mix I had for it, but it's one of the like early combinations of like uses I had for with this new style of mixing that I sort of came up with for myself. So what's most shocking about that, I think, is that there's no parallel compression going on. I freaking love my parallel compression now, but here there's literally just the first thing on the bus is a compressor just raw dogging it. Like it's just going that it's just out there.
Off the enemy.
And actually I ended up using a preset here. That's called backing vocals, and that's on the like main vocal. So what that's doing is literally just reducing it a ton. Like it is pushing it down. It is crushing it, and it's not even parallel compressing, which is why I'm shocked it works so well. But it does. The gain is right at about 35. Nothing too crazy going on here. People know I love my LA2As. My LA2A is just beautiful. As always, I've got some auto tune going on. It's pretty light. I like to do my things pretty light in terms of auto tune, because the important thing is not auto tune. Auto tune isn't going to fix a bad vocal take. The important thing is a good vocal take. Always. This is very, very well fitting for my range. So I can't say I struggle with this a lot. There are other times where I will struggle more, and I really have to sit down and get into the nitty gritty. Like today, I was recording a vocal, and it was a bit tougher for me. But a good challenge. Challenges are good. From there, I've got my first EQ up. This is doing just some attenuation on the low end, a high pass filter. It's pretty steep, but it kind of has to be for what I'm going for. And it's at 41.8 hertz, so it's pretty up there. It's cutting a lot of that muddiness in the low end. Now at this point, most of my vocal lines are stop at like 30 hertz, so this is pretty different from what I do now. But again, this works, especially with this compressor really just pushing it down. So I can't say that it was like a bad choice to have made. From there, I've got a Pultec EQ. I've always got to have my attenuated EQ going on first with the high pass filter, so then it really makes that room for the Pultec to come in and really do the heavy lifting on the vocal. So the low end is quite boosted. The high end is boosted even more. So you're getting a lot of that peak. In terms of what that would look like on a graphic EQ like this, it would probably look something more like that. Not that last part. But yeah. And there, of course, I've got my de-esser. This one isn't super high. It's not cutting so much of the S's, but just enough to really get out that peaking stuff from being there. Excuse me. I'm begging down on. And the most shocking thing for this, I guess, this vocal is for me, is the way that I have my reverb set. I have recently become very obsessed with just having my reverb at a very, very low room reverb, just an ambience, like a slight little ambience that you can barely tell, because I kind of want it to sit right in your ear, and that works really well with the parallel compression. It feels like it's right in your head. But for this one, I have it set not high. Of course, it's definitely not high. You can tell it's not high. But I have it set to a concert hall reverb with a 4-second decay. The mix is very, very low, but already when you have a concert hall reverb with a 4-second delay, like that is gonna be, that's gonna give you some wetness. That's gonna give you some depth to the vocal, which is something that I can't say that I'm a huge fan of now, but I can say that I'm a huge fan of it on this song specifically, because I think it works really well with this vocal line. I'm fighting off the enemy. I'm going blind from witnessing the darkness that's in front of me. Say, son, let's walk in there. Muchas gracias en el chat. Muchas gracias, se lo agradezco. No sé qué idioma será ese, pero sé que es similar al español. Mi familia es de El Salvador, por si no lo sabían. Y entonces yo siempre he hablado español desde niño pequeño, niño chiquito. Y se lo agradezco mucho. No sé de dónde será usted, pero lo agradecería si pudiera, si viera debajo del video. Ahí tengo todos los links para que vea el canal a donde estoy publicando esta canción que estoy trabajando ahorita, si quisiera. But yeah, so that's where I have that. Nothing changes too much between the chorus, like the dry vocals and the wet vocals. The only thing different I might have in the web vocals, actually, oh my gosh, there is some parallel compression going on in this song. It's shocking to me that I wouldn't have that going on the main vocal line. But again, like, it sounds good, so I can't, like, I genuinely can't say I'm mad about that. But yeah, besides that, there's a little bit of on the wet vocals. What's always different is just I'll have a ton more wetness, because, you know, of course it's wet vocals. Again, I'll have a concert hall reverb, and I'll put that mix up instead of like 3% up to like almost 16%, and that gives it a lot of depth in that sense. But then the real trick for me is using RC20. I will share this game for as long as I live. And I've yet to see anybody do something with RC20 like this. And it's so simple, but it's like RC20 has such an incredible, like, distant reverb thing going on with this space knob here. And I love it. And I think it works great for wet vocals. It makes everything so, like, out there and fills that headspace. It creates that dissonance in the headspace. It's really necessary to create a rich, full sound, if that makes any sense to people. It's very necessary. But let's go ahead and check them out. Where are you at? I can give you more than life. So that's wet. That's the wet vocals. But then once you add that main vocal on top, it really completes everything, and it makes it, again, feel very full and big. I can give you more than life, life, life. You grow in your wings as you go. 'Cause you're my child. Bringing you home. Bringing you home. Sounds real great, in my opinion. And that's just generally what goes on for the vocals. Again, I'm going to get super in-depth with that. It's just not necessary. Next biggest thing that I always go to in my mixes is guitar. Guitarra. Almost, I can't say that I've had a song that I've made that doesn't have guitar in it. You know what? That might be wrong. I think I have one. I think I do have one, but that was made a while ago. It was made over a year ago, and actually posted over a year ago too. At this point, so yeah. I do love my guitar, and this one, unfortunately, I'm working with this little black Martin guy. It's not as fun as the guitar that I used to use. I don't know if Derek is still in here, but it was his guitar, and it was beautiful, and it was much better. This one is fine. It's actually, I think the problem that I had before with it is I was shit at guitar, and I didn't realize it. But in the past year, just the way that things have changed with music for me, I have gotten significantly, ridiculously better at guitar compared to where I was at a year ago. And it's really thanks to the help of, the Tech Center. And just the inspiration that came with all that. Changed the course of my life, I'm sure. But yeah, that's that beautiful guitar. I love the tone that's on the guitar. Wish I still had that, but it's fine, because I'm making this one work. Where you at, guitar? There you at, guitar. So again, at this point, I do totally different stuff for guitars, but what I was doing here wasn't a bad thing by any means. Like, I'm just, I'm using a preset here. It's acoustic guitar presence. What that does is attenuate some of the low end. So again, it's doing a high pass filter. What you saw before, it was that slope that was going on. Was literally it. And then boosting some of that high end, attenuating some of the low end too, so that we get some of the harshness out of those I don't even know how to explain it. I see it's like it makes sense in my head, but just the harshness out of the high end, you're not gonna have any peaking from the guitar, or you're gonna have significantly less. While boosting some of the low end and boosting some of the high end, again we're boosting the high end a lot more. At the same time, attenuating, so that it's balanced out in a sense. Then we've got a compressor going on. So this one is not reducing nearly as much as you saw earlier with the vocal. That one was about like 55. This one's at like 35, so it's much better. Much better. And the gain isn't too high either. It's not super high, but it doesn't need to be super high. The guitar came out pretty heavy already from the original project file. So there's not really a need for it. You can see that the compressor is doing its job here. It's working quite a bit actually. If I took it off, it's quite noticeable. And then you have more peaking throughout the entire song. Other than that, I've got some ambience going on, some ambient reverb. This is the type of reverb I was saying that I like more on my vocals now. Very slight. Actually, even less than this, because I'll put the K down to like 40.40 seconds. And the mix down to like 5 for a vocal. But this really just opens up the sound. It really just brings it out and then makes sure that it sits on top of the beat rather than like blending in and being glued down to it. If that makes more sense. So it combines really well. Again, creating that dissonance in the background that really does create a noise in the air of the song, the headspace, the sound space, and really makes it a lot more full. So that's really what's going on for most of the guitars, and I think that becomes especially apparent once you have them all together here. You know what? I'm lying. There's actually something pretty special going on other than that, and it's this. So at the time that I made this song, again, this is 6 months old, 6.5 months old. So at the time that I made this song, I didn't have a mandolin, but I really wanted a mandolin. Like I really wanted a mandolin on this song. Now again, I don't know if Derek is still in here, but the mandolin is actually really handy. And I know you said that you never used it, but I've used it a lot, okay? I didn't use it before because the intonation was all off. But now that the intonation is all on, I'm using it so much, and I love it. I freaking love the mandolin. But at the time, I didn't have a mandolin. And so what I did was instead of taking the regular guitar or playing a separate guitar part and just pitching it up an octave, I did it actually on my guitar, and I think I actually already had the capo at like 2, so that was actually really hard. Like it was tough. I didn't do inversions. Like I could have done inversions. That, you know, I could have done high inversions of it, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted it to be the same exact pitch, just an octave higher. But I didn't want to have to pitch it up because I knew that would sound funny and robotic. So I took it and and this is made up of like 40 different takes because I had to really, it was tough. It was really hard, and I had to mold my fingers to make sure that I could actually play it. So that one's keeping the same sort of, it's on the same chain as the other one, but I know that one of these is really wet. There you go, and this is the main guitar that you hear. That's the supporting guitar, but this one is really the main one you hear. And actually it's on the same chain as this, but out of the original project file, it came out pretty wet. Already, and really all I was doing there was here I can recreate it a bit. Again, I love my RC20, and RC20 does really well for something like this. I was taking my RC20, I brought it up, there's a Lush and Crush guitar, literally all it does is distort it quite a bit, and I brought down both of the knobs, like half of what they were, and it creates a subtle, very subtle distortion while adding that space that really opens it up and makes it huge. And in my opinion, perfect. Like that is the real lush. Like the setting that it's on isn't lush. The setting that I may make out of it is the real lush. I freaking love it. Love it so much. As a little side note, I made a pad out of my vocal. I took one of the, hold on. Where you at? I took one of the U's. As you can tell, these are the exact same pitch. So I took that very first ooh sound. In FL Studio, there's I don't know what it's like called, like the type of plugin it is, but in FL Studio it's called Edison, and it's basically just like an audio editor, recorder type thing. I would consider it like a built-in Audacity, like the program. So I've got that vocal pad. That was made out of the U. Nothing too significant going on it, but I just thought it was pretty cool. I took it, I put it through little Alter Boy, and then in addition to that, I pitched it up an octave, just the original sample, and I ended up with this really high, ambient, constant ringing. That's very subtle, but you could notice it if you really look for it. Now I'm not going to get super in depth with all of this, but the next biggest thing on this, actually probably bigger than the acoustic guitar, was the electric guitar. Now again, I made this song 6 months ago, so this was when I for some reason I just loved to go ham on the amount of layers I had, and sure, it was pretty unnecessary, honestly, in all honesty. But regardless, this created it would always make it really hard to make songs. Which I'm glad that I've learned to tone it down and to really only use what's necessary and still keep it full. But here I have, wow, this is totally unnecessary. Generally, I know that all of these are running through pretty similar sort of things. So I'll show you that. Again, I'm using a Pultec. This one's got another preset, an electric guitar bite is what it's called. It boosts the low end quite a bit so that it really brings it out. At a certain point, it does start to compete with the kick if you're not careful with it. With the kick and the bass and everything else, because it's boosting the low end so much. But at this point, it's still doing pretty well, especially when we attenuate the low end and we boost some of the high end to help out too. So it ends up being pretty fine. Let's get one of these layers just by itself. So we've got a compressor. Compressor not doing too much. I'm not gonna go over the compressor. This was one of the first times that I ever used this like amp plugin, this Universal Audio Ruby 63 Top Boost amp plugin. I love it. I actually am a huge fan of this, and I use it on pretty much every single one of my tracks in some way, shape, or form at this point. It just does the trick for me. So this is an extremely simple line, but I brought the in down quite a bit. I didn't change anything with the room reverb or the out knob. I kept it on the silver thing, the silver amp, and I brought the cut all the way up. So then we end up with this very warm, very like tinny, and I don't even know how to explain it. It feels, if I had to explain it with a feeling or a material, this feels matte. This sound to me feels matte, Maybe it's not as apparent on this exact thing, just because it's like I said, it's an older song, it's an older mix. I've got another amp sort of thing going on, not sure why, but it makes it feel very matte, if that makes sense in any of your heads. It makes sense in mine, and that's what matters. From there, and one of the other biggest things is the binaural pan. The binaural pan, it's basically just like a stereo enhancer. I use it to bring out the width and make it a lot wider, so that in turn we get a much bigger song. At this point, is there a lot that I would change about this mix? Yes, a ton I would change about this mix, and that includes just going over the levels, like just making sure, like creating automation and going over the levels. Well, like I said earlier, like I can't stay too precious about my music, and I've been holding on to this song for the past 6 months. If I held on to it for another month or another 2 months just so that I could get everything fixed while releasing other songs, knowing that I have this one, like, it's not a bad thing. People don't release songs all the time, but this one really feels like it should be out. Just because I feel like it needs its moment. I feel like it's a good song, and it was my favorite one when I first made it, and that's why I'm putting it out. I can't stay too precious about it forever, because then if I hold on to it for a month to fix that, then I'm gonna get better with the mixing thing again. Maybe not as significantly as before, but actually that's exactly what happened the first time around. This is probably like the fourth mix that I have going on for it. The first couple ones were just slight tweaks, but then I came back to it after like 3 months, or maybe probably 4 months, probably about 4 months after I first made it. Because I remember I was still in Des Moines. Well, obviously I was still in Des Moines. I only moved like 3 weeks ago, but I was at the tech center, recording vocals for it. That's where I tracked some of the fixed vocals for it. And yeah, you get better, and you just get better. You know, I feel like the song that I released right before this one is a better mix than this one. But again, like this isn't a bad song. The mix isn't gonna kill anybody's ears. I'm putting it out. I'm gonna kind of skip through some things and just skip ahead to the really the most important things. That is piano and drums, what we have left. I'm not gonna go very in depth with the drums, but I'll show you the kick. I'll show you the snare and the toms, because I feel like I have something to say about the toms. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna go into the hi-hats or anything, because I know that's like one plugin, 1 or 2 plugins max. That's never really been different for me ever. I do really love the way that this piano sounds. It's very, very... So this is just a VST that I'm using. I played it MIDI, but it is a VST. But in my opinion, it sounds pretty convincing. Really, all I'm doing, I'm not attenuating anything here. I'm boosting a lot of the low end. Not boosting quite as much as the high end. But I am attenuating a lot of the high end, a low pass filter, so that it makes room for the kick. It makes room for everything else in the mix, and a lot of the high end stuff, like the guitar. Two totally different sounds, but it needs to make room for each other so it all works in cohesion. Other than that, again, a compressor, always my LA2A. I think the star of the show here ends up being the vintage reverb, the Valhalla vintage reverb. It was a good day. I enjoyed it. I of course I miss the tech center, but like I'm realizing that, you know, I miss it. Like, you know what I mean? Like of course I was gonna miss it, but like I miss it. You know? And like I haven't even been gone for that much time. I mean, I'll miss it less and less as I keep moving forward with life and stuff. But I wouldn't mind being there and playing some Rocket League right now. You know what I mean? And meeting people in a new city is tough. I tried going to a run club today, actually. This is totally off topic, but I tried going to a run club today. And I went up there. I spent like 15 minutes walking up, and there was nobody there. And it was so unfortunate because I'm like almost positive that they met last week, based off their Facebook posts, and I didn't find anybody. And I don't know if I went to the wrong spot or what happened, but like no, there was nobody there, and it made me. It was like, damn, I really want to go to the run club. But regardless, I'm happy, and I just started going to church here. I'll be going to church tomorrow for Good Friday, which is something I am quite excited about. To have a community to celebrate such an important day with, never really done that, so it'll be fun. Again, that's why I tried fasting in preparation for Good Friday, but it was my first time trying to fast on my own. And I think it was the first time I've tried a water fast. Daniel fast, of course. I've had Daniel fast, but I think it was the first time I tried a water fast, and it was tough. And I made it through day one. At least I can say I made it through day one. But yeah, I have the church. I'm really excited to go tomorrow and just celebrate with people and be with people. It'll be nice. But yeah, just finding your way around. Totally off topic, but yeah. Next I'll look at this kick. This kick, to be honest, like I really hate this kick sound. This one is fine. Here, hold on. I'll play the second kick sound, because this one's a mesh of two kicks together, which sounds pretty fine. Not great. Not saying it's great, but you know which one I hate with a passion? What? Why? It sounds so bad. I hate it so much. That is one thing that I kind of I won't say cringe. I guess I do cringe at it. Like when I listen to the mix, I know that I'm the only one, because people don't give a shit what kind of kick you use on your song, as long as it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. Blatantly, in general, to me this sticks out like a sore thumb. But I'm the one who made the song, and I've spent plenty of times listening to good sounding kicks. So this sounds like shit, and I don't know what I was thinking when I put it in there. I don't know why I didn't change it, but it is what it is. It's in there now. Again, it is what it is. Sounds terrible though, and I really hate it, but it's fine. So I've got that boosted. I've got the Pultec, of course, boosting low, and it's a kick. I've got to boost the low one. Okay. This is not something I normally do with kicks at this point. I will sometimes like parallel compress the entirety of my drums, just putting in a totally separate bus, everything together, and parallel compress it so that we can get some more volume and some more width going. I'll add some binaural pan to it too, but I'll never at this point anymore add a compressor straight to an individual kick. And don't really know what I was thinking when I did that here, because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work well at all. Excuse me, but again, it is what it is. First time doing a mix like that. Really, one of my first couple times doing a mix with my new sort of method, the method I use now. So of course there's bound to be a lot different. But I did add some ambience ambient reverb going on. The same type of stuff I like to add to my vocal going on here, just to widen it up. We got the mix set quite a bit higher than anything else in the mix so far. Of course, that is relative. Should have just let me play drums. Yeah. Actually, that would have been great. Would have been way better than this shit. God damn, I'm not over it. I'm not over how bad that kick sounds. He's like a bwah, 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 bwah. And that's in the final mix. That's the final mix of the song right there. Actually, if you're still willing and able, I have songs that I wrote a song with Alicia the other day. I was just working on the demo track today for it, and I really love where it's headed. Like right now, it's kind of building up to where it can be totally something different from what I've done before. Like it still kind of sounds purely like, I almost say like everything I've ever done. Like it doesn't, especially since I wrote it with Alicia. But I guess we're still finishing writing that. But if we get real drums on that, I don't know if he's a good drum player. I don't know if he knows people who play drums or whatever. But I think it sounds so much better. There's something off with Melon, and I don't know what happened. Like I said, I was gonna hit the snare and then hit the toms. And then the tambourine has the same plugins. I'll tell you right now what the plugins are. It's a Pultec EQ with the low end attenuated, and then it's Valhalla Vintage Verb again on the ambient knob setting or whatever, set to like 14%, and the decay is set to like 0.5 seconds. That's what the hats and the tambourine have. I know that. I do it every single time. But I do like the snare a lot. This song was originally inspired by one that released, well, of course, that had to have been like in October or September. Of course, he knows. All right, I still need to send you the ones that I first showed you before I left Des Moines. I still need to send you those ones, let alone like brand new music, because I haven't worked on a ton of songs since I moved. I have probably 3 that I've worked on, I've worked on more than 3, but 3 that really have made it past the point of just an idea. 3 that I have full demos for, I'll say that much. Just because I've been focused so much on YouTube beats, and actually I probably should have, genuinely, I considered highly just making a YouTube beat and not going live, because right now I have stuff uploaded through Monday of next week, but I really want to be able to stay on top of my things. You know what I mean? I don't want to get behind by any means, because that it's gonna suck if that I do. But regardless, here's the snare. The snare, I copy and paste a lot of what I do, to be honest. Like that's not a joke, that's not a lie. The snare, you can take a look at the settings here. It's got a lot more boost on the low end than anything on the high end. It's got some attenuation going on the high end, actually quite a bit. But that's just to make sure that it's not picking out or anything ridiculous. If I take it off, totally noticeable. And there you go. A lot more thuddy with it on, and that was kind of what I was going for this one. Sort of muffled and thuddy. Here the compressor makes a lot more sense. Normally what I'll do now is put it on, literally just take the reduction down to absolutely 0 and only affect the gain. This acts as a great gain knob. And for something like a snare, as long as it's not picking out and, again, not blending with the mix, I think it works fairly well. Again, copy paste quite a bit. I have a Hall Vintage Verb set to ambient mode, 18%. I'm waiting. Yeah, we'll stay waiting. No, I'll actually get on that. You know what? I'm gonna have some fun here, and as soon as I'm gonna explain the tom real quick, and I'll show you the idea that him and I are working on, and what I mean by it sounding like a lot like me, but headed towards the direction where it sounds like a new version of me. Like, I don't know how much sense that makes. Like, it's still totally me and totally down under my brand, but it's headed in the direction where it could be something really good under that, I think. I love that tom. I love what I do with my toms always. This isn't doing much at all. The real star of the show is this EQ here. Look at that. Look at this. Look at the way that low end is boosted. I can't say much about this. It's just like, it's graphic EQ, so genuinely just look at it. And it works. It works really well. And this is sort of doing exactly what would be done for a kick. Boosting the low end. This is getting some of the muddiness at the middle, at the mids. And then boosting the high end. Again, I can't say too much about it. Like, just look at it. Why haven't you made a simple pack for drums yet? Like, it's shocking. Also, question. Can you guys see my plugins? Or have I just been talking this whole time and like slightly moving? Moving my mouse, because I'm looking at like the OBS screen right now, and on my Studio One screen I can see my plugin. But when I go back to the OBS screen, I don't see the plugin. So hopefully you've been able to see the plugins, and I haven't been, especially there where I was saying look at it and you couldn't see it. Hopefully you have been able to see it. If not, it sucks to suck. You can get the general gist of me just talking. And then some Valhalla Vintage Bird again. Can't see that. That's so fun. How does that work? How come you can see the Studio One screen but you can't see the plugins that are on top of the mix? Like, you know what? That's so stupid. That's that's freaking hilarious. I've been just talking this whole time. I've been pulling up every single one of the plugins, being like, look at it. Look at what I was doing here. Sucks to suck. I'm way too far into it to go back now. At this point, what I will do is show you the idea. I'm so far I'm the only one that's touched the track, like, you know, the instrumentation or anything at all. But when I go back on Monday, we'll be working on writing the verses, finishing writing the chorus, because I sort of just used some filler words, or some filler lines, if you will, and a lot of it. Oh, because I'm doing window capture, not. Dang it, man. That freaking sucks. And that doesn't count it as the same window? That's like really. That's pretty dumb in my opinion. But whatever. I'll probably take this live down off of my Jersey Beats channel anyways. Just because it interferes a lot with the regular brand of my channel. And I already don't get many live views on my other channel anyway, so it's really just for the live moment. I do need 2 screens. I don't know if you're saying that like you have to have 2 screens to make it work, or I should have 2 screens, but I should have 2 screens. I have an old iPad, and if I can make that work as a monitor, that'd be great. I was gonna play this song, or at least what I have of this song. Let's see if it works. Kevin Mexicano. What's up, Kevin? Hi.
I'm landing I get seasick. I'm sure now your turbulence is giving reason. Cause I grew up on solid ground where shakes and storms weren't coming out. They're weekly, they're weekly. Cause ever since you came my way, the days feel short, the nights don't seem to fade. It's in my blood, Asian. Now it seems like I've no choice. So kill me if you want to. Getting rid of me's a chore. If I'm gonna go, you're dumb and broke. I swear that you're never gonna see comfortable. Cause the choices you make and the hearts that you break will be your biggest mistake. And when the clock's running short, just know the ball's in your court. But one wrong move and all the trust will be torn. I'll be the time that you take, the patience while you wait, or I'll be your biggest mistake.
Still gotta write the second verse, and then I repeat the chorus vocals for what I have right now. I'm gonna use a filler chorus verse in the meantime. I'm going back on Monday, and we're finishing writing the song and working on the instrumental. You have to.
If I'm gonna go,
Just repeat.
you're dumb and broke. I swear that you're never gonna
I am extremely obsessed with that. Like,
cause the choices
this is it's such a good chorus. Like,
will be your biggest mistake. When the clock's running short, just know the ball's in your court. But one wrong move and all the trust will be torn. I'll be the time that you take, the patience while you wait, or I'll be your biggest mistake.
Okay, that's really all I have for that. Then I'll let you play drums on it. First of all, that's first up. You will be playing drums on it. That's decided. Second of all, I really like the chorus. I'm so excited about the chorus. And when I first wrote it, I sat here for 2 hours trying to come up with an idea because I didn't want to show up to Alicia's empty-handed. All right, sweet. Peace out. But I ended up with that, and I'm happy about it. All right, sweet. Anyways, thank you to anyone who says stop into this live. I need to go talk with my mama. I told her I was gonna call her, and actually it ended up being perfect time. And you made me remember, Derek, by saying that you had to leave. It made me remember that I in fact do have to leave too, because it has been just about an hour since I first said that. Just over an hour since I first started the stream too. So yeah, and I'm gonna go talk with my mama. Thanks to anyone who stopped in, and thank you, Kevin. I don't know if Kevin's still in here, but but thank you to anyone. I appreciate it, regardless of the channel that you were on. I thank you for stopping by. Thank you for speaking in the chat with me and just having a good time with me. This is I love doing these little live streams. So even though I would have loved to have been making a beat right now, I can't sacrifice this. I really love doing these live streams.